What's up, everyone? This is Trend Kill Toys. Today I'm taking a look at the Daredevil Man Without Fear 3-pack. I had to pick this up because Daredevil is a pretty cool comic character, and he's one of those street heroes. He has crossed paths with Punisher on multiple occasions, so that was a big reason for me picking this one up. I also read the Frank Miller Daredevil comics, or I read some of them at least, and this is how he shows up in there. You know, people were complaining about how the Daredevil doesn't have the lighter red on the hands and the boots, but this is how he showed up in the Frank Miller comic, so that's cool. And this Elektra also was in a Frank Miller comic that I read. This is kind of like her, well, it's her white costume, which is like her redemption costume, which was at the end of her solo comic by Frank Miller. So that was a pretty cool story. So another reason to pick that one up. This Bullseye, I have a couple problems with this Bullseye. It's an okay figure. It's just a repaint of the old one, but he's not portrayed as he was in the Frank Miller comics. So that's kind of one disappointing thing about that, and I'll get into that later. This is not going to be a super detailed review. Like, you guys already know how Marvel Legends articulate and stuff like that, and you can watch someone else's video if you want to learn about the articulation and the history. Before I get into the actual review of the figures, the first thing I want to talk about is the box. So obviously Marvel Legends has been doing this for a while now, the windowless packaging, you know, because they want to go green or whatever, because they want a virtue signal. But this packaging sucks because it doesn't have any comic book art on it. Like, you do have the background here, and you know, the background on the back here too, but besides that, it's just fake pictures of the figures. So that's kind of dumb, and the pictures aren't even accurate to the actual figures you're getting. So, like the Daredevil here, the fake one has a darker red, and the Daredevil logo on his chest is brighter, and the figure is like not like that at all. So they're pretty much lying to us, and they don't care about it. And the Elektra here, you can see the bandana on her head actually sits like it does accurately in the comics. But the actual figure, the bandana is not glued on all the way down, or it's not seated properly, which is fixable, but it's kind of dumb how, like, the figure should come as accurate as possible, and especially when they're telling you, like, this is what the figure looks like they're just straight up lying to us. Also, the white on the figure here is way more white than on this figure. It might not show up on the camera, but some of the whites are different, and also the skin tones are a little bit different. So the box sucks. Even the Silk and Doc Ock 2-pack had some pretty nice comic art on it. And I think the Spinneret and Spider-Man 2-pack also had comic book art on it. So I don't know why they didn't have that on this one. So that makes the box like 10 times worse in my opinion. Now getting to the actual figures, I'm going to start with my least favorite one, which is Bullseye. He does come with a cool effect here, so that's pretty cool, but he doesn't come with any cards to throw, which he did throw cards, right? Like, that was a thing he did. During a Hasbro live stream, they showed like a throwing card, and I thought for sure it was going to be Bullseye, but I guess it was Gambit. So I don't know. I don't even remember what happened to that when they showed off that playing card. What did it end up being for a Gambit figure? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't pay attention a whole lot to the live streams or whatever. So he does come with an alternate head, which is this yelling one. He also comes with a bread knife, which is like whatever. It looks cool when it's in there. And also, so he's got this, you know, this belt with the holster, but he doesn't come with a gun. And I know the old one came with a gun, but this one doesn't. I guess they're maybe moving away from guns for some reason, or they just wanted to cut costs. I can imagine Hasbro doing one or the other. So here's a 3D printed gun from eBay, you know, and it fits right in there, and it looks cool. So Hasbro making more dumb decisions by not packing him in with a gun. The articulation is fine. It is, it's got pins in it, because it is a repaint. I mean, but it just shows that Hasbro's really lazy. And the pricing, like, if they're going to repaint figures, the pricing should be lowered if they're just going to repaint old figures. If it's new stuff, you know, a higher price is reasonable, but if it's old repainted stuff, I think they should lower the price. But they're obviously not going to do something reasonable like that. You know, we're talking about Hasbro. They're not the most reasonable toy company right now. And then the elephant in the room is that he's got the blue painted on his chest here. That's not like the comics I read. So that's another unfortunate thing. And that's why he's my least favorite. But he is, you know, cool to have. He's just like a villain that, you know, the Punisher can beat up, or Daredevil can beat up, or Spider-Man can beat him up. So, and then the next one is Elektra. Now this figure is actually pretty cool. She does come with a sword and her 2 sais. She only has one accurate sai holding hand though. So she should have came with, you know, both hands to hold her sais like that. Now the sword is not as flimsy as you'd expect. They did thicken it up a little bit, but it ends up looking like one of those foam swords that kids play with. So like it's not as floppy as some other swords that they made in the past. Like swords are not that thick. Paint on this is pretty good. So the white is painted good, but the skin tones don't match. I don't know if that's coming across on the camera, but the skin tone on the legs is brighter than everywhere else, like on the arms. So anywhere where they painted skin tone, because the plastic's not all molded in skin tone, they're cast in white plastic and they paint the skin tone. They didn't match the colors at all between the painted and the molded tones. That's kind of disappointing. Also, the white of her upper torso is kind of yellowish and a little bit dirty looking. And so is this. Her skirt piece is also the same way. That's probably because of the kind of plastic that they molded those pieces in. So that's kind of unfortunate. And then you have the head sculpt, which is nice. It's definitely one of their better head sculpts. And Marvel Legends is coming out with better head sculpts, you know, especially for the female figures. They were really not good a couple years ago, but recently they've been getting a lot better and better. So that's cool. One thing that does bother me, like I mentioned before, though, is that the bandana is not sitting down all the way. That should be easy to fix. You know, you just heat it up and then you push it down further. You know, we have to completely remove it and then fix it. So that is fixable, but it's kind of dumb how it didn't come out like that out of the packaging. Also, something that's kind of weird with my figure is that the torso separates easily. I guess they molded the ball joint here. Like there's like an error in it or something. There's kind of like a chunk missing out of it. But that's not the biggest problem. It does make it kind of loose though. Yeah, and you can kind of see that it separates right there, the lower torso. So I don't know if you guys have that problem. Let me know. And now I think I made it even looser. And she also comes with an alternate head sculpt, which is kind of hard to put on, you know, but the printing on the face is good. So, and also I'm hoping they use this body again to make a red version of her, you know, her regular costume. So that's cool. Definitely look forward to that. So this is a good figure. Now the next one and the last one is Daredevil. When I saw initial pictures of it, like when people were getting it in hand overseas, like in Taiwan and other places around there, the pictures that people were taking of it, it made it look really thin. Like having it in hand, it looks a lot better and feels a lot better than I was expecting it to. So I actually really like this figure. He's got decent articulation, you know, butterfly joints are pretty good. He's got that Spider-Man articulation, which I'm not the biggest fan of toe joints. I don't use them a whole lot, and these are sculpted kind of weird, like it has a weird shape to it. So they could have done that a bit better, or just not had it at all. But either way, you know, it doesn't hinder him from standing. You know, and the figure looks cool. And like I said before, the all red with no different shades of red, that's how he showed up in the Frank Miller comics. And I like that design more. So that's cool how, you know, they actually have a decent figure of that. And he probably could have been a little bit bigger in the shoulders, like bigger shoulders and a bigger chest. But either way, it is pretty cool. They should have had an unmasked head sculpt. That would have been cool too. But I mean, as is, the figure is pretty good. And I mean, they'll probably release this figure by itself with the different shades of red on the gloves and the boots. They're gonna do that. They're gonna try to get as much money as they can out of these sculpts and these molds. So if you just want the Daredevil from the set, you're better off just waiting. And same goes for Bullseye. They're definitely going to re-release a Bullseye with his all black gear. Also, one thing that kind of sucks is his grip isn't very good on his batons. Like you can see, there's a gap right there. Like he doesn't grip it all the way because his hands don't open up far enough. And I guess I will say that this accessory right here, this wire accessory, is kind of dumb. I mean, I don't think he used that a whole lot, and he does come with 2 of them. So I don't know, maybe you'll be able to get use out of that. And I guess it's kind of a cool effect, but it's just not executed very well. Like it doesn't peg in very securely, and it's not bendable. Like you can't bend it to whatever shape you want. So I'm not going to use that too often. I guess I'll do a couple comparisons. Here's the Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man. This is another really good figure from Marvel Legends. You know, sometimes they come out with really good figures. Most of the time they come out with bad figures though. And here he is next to the Retro War Machine. It's another good figure. It is a repaint though, but I think it's a needed repaint for the Iron Man animated series fan like myself. Here's my custom Punisher, and that's pretty cool that Elektra and the Punisher look really cool next to each other. So that's pretty sick having these two together. Overall, I'm happy with the 3-pack. You know, Bullseye is the weakest link, but apart from that, I think this is a pretty strong 3-pack. Glad I got it. Looking forward to, you know, what other packs they got coming in. They also have you know, the X-Men 3-pack. Well, they got 2 X-Men 3-packs now. And they got that Psylocke. I'm going to try to get that Psylocke by itself, because that's a pretty cool figure. I'm hoping they release like a regular Psylocke. That would be cool with this new style of body. Which they've been coming out with some female figures with this body for a while, which is cool. I have picked up a lot of them. The new female body is pretty good. So yeah, I mean, it's cool for customs. Just swapping parts over and upgrading some old figures maybe, and you know, just doing different stuff like that. So that's cool. You know, Hasbro is making some good decisions. Overall, I think they're really losing a lot of money though, especially when they're making figures of characters that no one really cares about, or at least not, you know, the large majority of people care about. And it looks like they're trying to push like the new comics, at least the more recent comics within the past like 10 years. Definitely less people that want those characters. It's kind of dumb that they're making figures of characters that, you know, not a lot of people care about. I mean, it's fine for me. I guess I save money. I don't have to spend money. That's all I got for this video. Let me know what you guys think of the figures. I gotta go. I'll see you guys in the next one.